Rainbows, it's me Savvy. In today's video, we are going back to another true crime and makeup video for Halloween, and I am doing a rainbow look, and we are going to read about the second chapter in it, and it's organized crime and gangs, it says. So, here we go. It says, the most feared Mafioso. One of the most feared men in New York Mafia was a pudgy man named Roy DiMeo. He was made a member of the mafia. He murdered a loan shark, a car thief who hung out with other thugs in the Gemini Lounge in Brooklyn. He created an assembly line for murder. The potential victim was lured to the Gemini Lounge clubhouse, where he was shot and then stabbed in the heart. It's a little gruesome, huh? Next came the butcher knives and the bone saws to cut him apart, package him in little pieces, were then thrown in the dumpster to pick up. It was estimated that DiMeo was responsible for murdering 200 people he liked and having the power of God deciding whose lives lives and who dies. DiMeo eventually ran a full of bosses wild bosses, Paul Castillo, and Castillo fearing that DiMeo would cooperate with the government, ordered his death. One frozen January day, DiMeo was found in the trunk of a car, shot 7 times. One bullet had gone through his frozen hand, which he held to his face to protect himself. Oh, that's kind of sad. And there was a pool of blood frozen. They also found a recorded wire, a message that anyone who crossed the mafia would also end up in the trunk of a car. It's kind of sad. Oh, and then there's a game. It says match Mafia with his mate, and then it tells you like what they are, and then you have to like match them. It's kind of fun. This one says crime of jargon, gang/organized crime of jargon. Oh, they're slang. Put out a contract. This one is the most common name for a mob murder, used both by law enforcement and personal mobsters. The threat of death is the ultimate weapon used by organized crime to control people. The rule is simple: do it my way or be. For years, if you were going to be hit by your family, you could expect that certain doctrine would be observed. For example, they would kill you in front of your wife or kids, and that's changed. The most dramatic example of killing is Crazy Joe Galayo, the renegade Mafioso who was shot by 2 gunmen while dining with his wife in Umberto's Clam House in New York City. The time to worry about being hit is when you're aware or having committed a fatal offense, such as stealing drugs, and subsequently invited somewhere by a close friend. This is frequently the way the mob hit is achieved. A friend is forced to set up. Today, the various gangs are also much more violent than in the past. Indeed, the level of violence is mind-boggling and perhaps shocking to most Colombians. They are not only don't care about your family seeing you be killed, but will kill them because of your transgressions. Hit first showed up as a print in America in the 1971, In Your Sleep is by Richard by D. Mackenzie. I got scared and called the whole thing off. Someone else must have made the hit. Number 2, do a piece of work. This is the most common phrase mobsters use when going to kill someone. Button man. A soldier in the mafia family. Button. I keep saying baton, but it's button. Baton. No, button men do the dirty work for the mafia, collecting for loan sharks or from people paying extortion money, acting enforcers, bodyguards, runners, whatever they are, ordered to do so. The button man may or may not be made man of the official introduced into the mafia, but is connected to the family nonetheless. Button men are considered the low men of the mafia totem pole, but highly regarded within criminal community because of the mafia affiliation. One of the terms comes to the idea of the button man acting like he was a hitman to make buttonholes or bullet holes in the victim. Capo di tutti di capi. I probably butchered the heck out of that because I'm not Italian, but it says Italian for boss of all bosses. Consigliere, chief counselor to the head of the mafia family, the Italian consiglio, meaning advice or counsel. Consigliere is a revered position in the mafia for the man who holds regard in very wise and ways of the mob. Consiglieres tend to be older men. Wired man. Anyone skilled in placing a recorded device. Most law enforcement entries have wired men in these days, and they play a practical, crucial role, particularly in the war against organized crime. The public consequences is what is taking the wire trap to the telephones in the erroneous. The popular conception is that the quick, fugitive placement of the phone wire is close by. In fact, a wireman can tap a wire from far by subject of the house. In other instances, placing the wire must be quick and furtive, and it carries some risks of the wireman being discovered. One of the classic wires was placed in one spot on a rainy day, and New York State police officers who succeeded in by placing the bug in the jaguar of the subject in big-time mafioso named Anthony Tony Ducks. Carrillo, who was at the time attending the wedding reception, Carrillo feeding perfectly safe in his car, talked naturally about however you say that, about mafia business, and his driver, his convention spiced with uncomplimentary references and some of his computaries. At one point, the operation, the bug powered by the car, finally battery, started to fail as well. Carrillo brought his vehicle in for servicing, which would have meant the discovery of the bug, but agents were able to get the car and remove the bug and replace in after the car was served. Thanks to the bug, Carrillo died in jail. Police have also placed bugs in parked cars and listened to the street conversations in Portland neighborhood. For example, police noticed that bad guys, they wanted to never talk and incriminated way inside the building, but each day they would have a certain street corner and they'll speak openly. The creative solution was to park a car in the corner, leave it there. A tiny hole was drilled in the trunk, and the conversations were captured. A sensitive recording equipment inside the trunk. Colombian necktie, a murder in which the victim's throat is cut and the tongue is pulled down through the opening to resemble a tie. That's really gross. Colombian drug dealers engage in the gruesome practice. They normally reserve it for snitch, though everything is relative, and Colombia is generally regarded as the most brutal of all drug dealing games. Perhaps the reputation is the most fearsome because they know that they will not kill someone who has crossed them, but person's family as well. In fact, they inflict threat when they're dealing with the Colombians. Pulling train is not a good thing. It's gang R word. It is also known as training, and it is fate of many women who join street gangs or criminal motorcycle gangs. Doing the houndy, cutting body into pieces, and discarding the body to make it disappear. SSC also later entries on Westies. Then it says question answer. Who was the big time 1920s mobster who the government couldn't convict for gang activity, but also eventually got arrested for tax evasion, which is El Capone? Brooklyn. Capone moved to Chicago to run a vicious mob in 1920s and 1930s that controlled beer liquor trade during the Prohibition. He made a ruptured $100 million a year, little of which was reported. The government got him for not paying $231,000 in income taxes, and he was sentenced to 11 years in jail. That's nothing. Wow, 11 years in jail. And $50,000 fine. He ultimately died of syphilis. And then it says, fact, Al Scarface Capone always claimed that his prominent facial scar was the result of action of World War I, but the truth was that he was never in the army and received it in a hood that slashed, making the pass on someone's girlfriend. I was gonna say, like, that reminded me of Scarface, but I'm glad it got brought up, because I was like, oh, we're talking about gangs, right? So I was like, he's the most famous mobster, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I don't know. This book is crazy. As I said, it has games and stuff in it. And again, this book is the Killer Book of True Crime by Tom Philbin and Michael Philbin. So, of course, I'm not going to read all of it. I'm just reading you guys glimpses of it. So then that way, you can listen to something while you watch the video and all of that. I'm sorry. I'm horrible at reading too. So, but I mean, I thought it'd be better to do true crime because that's what it seems like a lot of people are into nowadays. And I have to do it for a challenge. So, trying to kill two birds with one stone. But if you like this video, of course, like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. I usually just, make videos of however I, feel, whatever I want. I'm not super famous or anything, so unfortunately, but yeah, thank you for subscribing. I love you guys. Bye.